Hey everyone, my name is Linda Pages and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's so weird to say. I am so excited to start this. I've been making Star Trek content on TikTok and on Instagram for the past few months, and I thought it was finally time to start a YouTube channel and do some more long-form content. I thought the perfect way to kick off my YouTube channel would be a Q&A, so I asked you for questions on Instagram and TikTok, and you gave me some really good ones, so let's get into it. All right, the first question is, if you had to live with any Star Trek character for one day, who would you live with? I feel like this answer might be kind of obvious if you've ever seen any of my content on TikTok or on Instagram, but of course it would be Captain Catherine Janeway. I just love her so much. She's inspired me so much throughout my entire life in so many different ways. I would love to spend a day with her. I would love to live with her for a day. We could drink coffee, we could talk science, we could do physics and math together. I think that'd be really cool. So, Catherine Janeway. What was your first introduction to Star Trek, and was it love at first sight? Yes, it was love at first sight. I was 6 years old. My dad was in the process of watching through all of the Star Treks, and he just happened to be on the Voyager episode, The Thaw. I came home from school, and I just kind of wandered into the living room. To this day, I don't really remember why, but I did, and I was hanging out with him. I saw the last 10, 20 minutes of The Thaw. Terrifying for a 6-year-old. I had nightmares for weeks. Probably years. I was completely hooked. I loved Captain Janeway. I remember asking my dad who she was, and he was like, she's the boss, she's the captain. And I thought, 6-year-old me thought that I kind of looked like her, and I just wanted to be her so bad. I was immediately fascinated, and I was asking him all kinds of questions about the show, and he was telling me about it. And when the episode was over, I was dumbfounded. I was completely stunned by the way that Captain Janeway destroyed the concept of fear. And I asked if we could watch another one, and my dad said, no, we have to start with the original series. So he got 6-year-old me hooked on the original series with the episode Trouble with Tribbles. And so I watched nothing but Star Trek the original series and Disney Channel from the ages of 6 to 12. So that is my intro to Trek story. And yes, it was love at first sight. Is a hot dog a sandwich? No, but it is an atrocity. If you had to vote a member off of Voyager from the bridge crew, who would you pick? Oh, that's a tough one. The bridge crew specifically. Well, it's not Janeway. We know that. It's not Tuvok. It might be Chakotay. I'm sorry, I love Chakotay, and I love Janeway and Chakotay together. But I feel like out of everyone on the bridge crew, aside from his will they, won't they with Janeway, I feel like the character just had the least compelling storylines throughout the series. So if I had to remove one of them, of the bridge crew specifically, then I'm sorry, it would be Chakotay probably. I don't want to remove him, but if I had to, that would be my choice. I'm sorry. Are you planning to go to STLV next year? Yes, I will be at Star Trek Las Vegas 2026. I am so excited. I turned 21 in less than a month, so I will be 21. It will be my first time in Vegas. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm actually working on cosplays right now, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do 5 days of Catherine Janeway or if I want to mix up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. My best friend and roommate Emma said, am I your favorite person? And why is the answer yes? Yes, you're my favorite person. I love you. We share a wall, so she might be listening to me record this right now. So hi, Emma. How do you bridge the gap from older Star Trek fans to bring to the younger children? That is such a good question. And I love talking about this because I think we as a fandom are definitely we're lacking in younger people and in children, and that's a really important way to keep a fandom, to keep a franchise alive. And so I think the way to bridge that gap is shows like Prodigy or Star Trek Scouts, which I'm really excited they're doing. I think Star Trek shows that are directed at kids are a really important thing for our franchise right now, and we need to be doing more of that. So I was super excited when Scouts was announced. I actually haven't seen any of it, but I might watch it for fun because I'm really excited that they're targeting that audience, that there are more kids who are going to get to grow up with Star Trek, and that the legacy isn't over. That's really cool. But yeah, I think definitely shows like Prodigy too that are aimed maybe at older kids or like young teens. I thought Prodigy was just fantastic, and it deserved a 7-season run. It really did. Paramount, pick it back up. What are my top 10 favorite podcasts? Ooh, that's tough. Okay. Well, I am a co-host on 2, The Transporter Room and Treknopod, so those have to take the top 2 spots. Go check both of those out, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. The Delta Flyers, duh, obviously, we knew that was coming. I also love, there's a podcast called Science Versus that I love a lot. Twinhood with Maisie Peters and Ellen Peters. There's a podcast called Time Suck that I really love a lot. I feel like I'm always picking up new podcasts and listening to like a little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah, those are definitely some of my favorite though. I don't think that was 10, but those are some that I regularly listen to. This is a 2-part question. When is your album gonna drop? And what would it seriously take for you to consider Tuvix's Right to Live? Those are both great questions. My album, soon. And what would it take for me to seriously consider Tuvix's Right to Live? Not much. I joke about it a lot, and I'm always saying hashtag bye bye Tuvix and kind of rage baiting online. But I don't actually hate Tuvix that much. Like, was I glad that Janeway separated them? Yes. Do I think it was the right decision? Yes. Do I actually think he was evil and awful? No. I think his whole thing with Kes was a little weird. He wasn't my favorite character to ever grace the Voyager set, but I didn't hate him that much. It's just kind of part of the bit now, so I stick to it. And I would have separated him just like Janeway did. But the whole point of that episode, and what I love about it so much, is that we're still talking about it 3 decades later, because it's still a discussion. It's still philosophically and morally relevant. And there is no right answer. That's the whole point of the episode. There's 2 really valid arguments. So yeah, not a lot. He kind of did have a right to exist. He didn't choose to exist. I just think that Neelix and Tuvok had more of a right to exist. But there's really strong arguments against that. So I love this question a lot. I'm really excited to answer this. What's the lore behind your song Roses about Gina Montalto? How did you come up with writing it? What made you want to? How did you get to know her family? And how did you contact them asking for permission to write it? Those are all great questions. If you don't know, I do have a song called Roses. It's under Linda Page, anywhere you listen to music. And I wrote it for a girl named Gina Rose Montalto. It's also why I wear this bracelet every day. It's for the Gina Rose Montalto Memorial Foundation. There's the website. So Gina and I were Girl Scouts in the same council, and we didn't know each other. And then she was killed in 2018. And after she died, her family became super involved with the Girl Scout council that I was in, because Gina was in the same council. And so I met them, and I remember it must have been 2021 that this happened. We were at an award ceremony, and Gina's father, Tony Montalto, was giving a speech, and they used the same speech for every ceremony, every time that they spoke at a Girl Scout event. But this time he was talking about how it would be the year that Gina would have graduated high school. And he stopped for a second and he looked up and he said, "Please don't forget her." Because there was, I think, kind of this idea that once she would have aged out of that high school age, that there would just be less talk about it. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow. And I've been writing songs my whole life, and there's kind of a constant stream of lyrics happening in the background. So this song just kind of started forming in my head. So I went home and wrote it, because I thought, this is the only thing I know how to do to fulfill that request. So I wrote it, and then I called a family friend of ours who works at Girl Scouts, and I said, hey, who also knew the Montalto family, and said, hey, I wrote this song. I have no idea if this is something that they would even want to hear. I have no idea if this is like creepy and weird, or if this is something that would somehow be meaningful to them. So what do you think? And then we ended up workshopping the song a lot, and I worked on it a lot throughout the next few months. And we got to a place where said Girl Scout Contact was like, I think that they would really want to hear this. So she set up a meeting for us, and my mom and I and the Girl Scout Contact, we all went to meet the Montaltos at their home, and it was a really lovely meeting. I found out so much about Gina that I didn't know. Like, she'd been watching Star Trek with her dad, and I didn't know anyone else my age who was watching Star Trek. We had the same childhood stuffed animal, just a lot of connections that I didn't know that we had, which really solidified for me that I was meant to write this for whatever reason. And her family really connected with the song, which I was really grateful for. And then over the next year, I worked on it with her family, and then we made the decision together to release it. So they came with me to the studio to record it, and then we released. And all the proceeds from that song do go directly to the Gina Rose Montalto Memorial Foundation. So go give it a listen, go stream it, go support that foundation. I will also include the link to the website for the foundation in the description of this video, so definitely go check it out and support it. What is my favorite Jerry Goldsmith theme? Voyager. I'm sorry, I know, it's where my heart is. I love Voyager so much. I love everything about it. Most of my what are your favorite question answers are going to be Voyager, no matter what it is, because I just love it so much. What names would you have suggested for the Doctor? Oh, that is such a good question. I probably would have suggested, like, former Starfleet Doctor. So I probably would have suggested McCoy, or maybe just other Starfleet icons. So I probably would have been suggesting like Kirk, McCoy, Archer, Spock. I think I would have been throwing all those names out there. So those are probably some of the ones I would have suggested. But I totally would have been like helping the Doctor figure it out. Like, I would have been doing research and coming back in with like, okay, these famous doctors who did these things, and these are famous opera singers. Like, I would have brought in lists and gone over them with him for sure. So I would have been really invested in that project. That would have made me really happy. How has Star Trek in general inspired you in your own life? That's a great question. In every single way. It's obviously really, I mean, my backgrounds and everything, all the Star Trek books, Moopsie. It's a huge part of my life. It's what I do for fun. It's inspired what I do for my major. I'm studying physics because of Star Trek, because I grew up watching it and wanting to explore space in that way. And it kind of breaks my heart again every time that I remember that I will never get to explore space the way that they do in Star Trek, because that technology will not exist in my lifetime. But yeah, growing up watching it just inspired me to want to work in the space industry. It inspired me in storytelling. I did theater growing up, so watching Star Trek definitely inspired that creative part of me as well as the scientific part of me. I think I'm really lucky to get to say that. How many people are lucky enough to be inspired in their career by just one thing, yet alone having one thing inspire them in so many different aspects of their life? I think that's really, really amazing. It's inspired me to be a leader. It's inspired me to make difficult decisions. It's inspired me to pursue science and stick with science when it gets hard. And creativity, just a million different things. So really in every aspect of my life. When I'm struggling with a decision, I always think, what would Janeway do? And that's helped me a lot. So what is my thought on pineapple on pizza? Disgusting. Vile. I hate it. I'm so sorry. If you like pineapple on pizza, you do you. I'm not here to yuck your yum. But me personally, no, I won't be partaking. Sorry. Now, olives on pizza. Yes. I'm actually really not that much of a picky eater. But on pizza, there's 3 things that I absolutely don't want on pizza. I'll pretty much eat anything else, but I do not want pineapple. I do not want sardines, and I hate mushrooms. That's it. Those are my only 3 things for pizza, pretty much. Of like standard pizza toppings, those are pretty much the only 3 that I'm like, no. How would you kill Tuvix? Again, I feel like this question implies that I have like this burning hatred for Tuvix, and I guess I'm kind of responsible for that perception because I post about it a lot. Yeah, I don't have... I wouldn't kill Tuvix. I would separate him back into Tuvok and Neelix, but I wouldn't just like kill him for funsies. I guess the hypo spray and a transporter. That's how I would kill Tuvix. Okay, that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you so much. That was so much fun. Thank you so much for submitting questions for me to answer. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe here and follow me on TikTok and Instagram at WendaPages. Mwah, long and prosper.